Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Mental Health Awareness right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest is Lori. Pronounce it?
Chenger.
Chenger. It looks like Chenger, but it's Chenger. It's a Hungarian name, which is quite exotic, so beautiful. But we're going to be talking about the infinite mindset, the hostage negotiation of the mind. We're also going to be talking the fact that she is one of our wonderful contributors in our Forgotten Children book series, where she will be talking about children and the mindset around them and things that need to be changed. So please stay tuned because there's going to be a great deal coming from Laurie down the road here. But, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, it's about really actually understanding our mind, what our mind is actually telling us. Are we allowing it to dictate everything? Are we tuning everything else along with the conversation? And she says that she's an educator. She was an Educator of the Year in 2023 from the Rise to Greater Heights Foundation, the award acknowledging the accomplishments of individuals who lead, teach, and inspire all learners. She's an international motivational speaker and international best-selling author, and last seen speaking on the stage of Cambridge University in the UK, and co-authoring a book called The Marie Diamond. Laurie is thrilled to be a part of the project with her youth, and the lighter to empowered success is not the sky is not the limit, your mindset is. And that's very true. It's very often the universe is speaking to us, the heart, soul, and spirit is speaking to us, everything is speaking to us, but our mind is in the way. Welcome to the show, Laurie. How do we get the chatter to shut up so we can truly listen to what we need to hear? I love
Thank you, Sarah, for the lovely introduction. It's great to be here today with your listeners.
mindset. People think is that you've just got to speak to the mind and the mind won't know what it needs to do. But, for me is the wisdom is in the knowingness. It is in the intuitive, divine, whatever you like to call it, knowledge that knows how to extract what knowledge you've got in your mind and what to do with it. Because after all, the mind is just full of information, of data. And if we don't know how to use it properly, that's where we get confused, right?
Yes, so true. And I take it a little bit deeper is that with that as well. And we are hostage to the stories that we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to really learn that the mind is really just a tool, like a chalkboard, to put something out there. But where we get our wisdom from, I believe, is the heart. The heart has its own feeling and processing system.
Yeah.
And I really feel it's about learning how to make that connection where you put, whatever it is you want to think about in your mindset, and then you feel your way and you navigate it
Yeah.
through there and you make that connection. And I really feel that is such a huge missing piece right now, especially with our youth today and all of the technology that gets in the way of us really being able to understand the power and the wisdom of our heart.
Mm.
So, also, the other thing that triggered a thought of me as you were talking there is that there's wisdom in pain.
Mm. Yeah.
And we move forward from that. And if we were just in the mind all the time, you can think about what I've just said and go, okay, maybe that's why I'm not moving forward. The mind is not feeling my way through this. Do I want something better? Do I want something more? Not how do I think about it? How do I feel about it? If that makes
100%.
sense.
100%. We dismiss the feelings. Part of it,
Mhm.
maybe it's too painful. Well, the thing is, if you're uncomfortable, that's the invitation to change. That's the
Yes.
invitation to deal whatever is causing you to feel this way and to, move down a different road where you're going to feel better. It's not think better. It's not thoughts better. Those are results of how you feel.
Yes, very, very true. And, when we're doing that, feeling better, it's also about, um, like I teach addictions. I'm an addictions instructor, and I've been doing that for a long time. And one of the things that I tell my students a lot is that you are not stuck. And when they tell me, like, oh, Lori, I'm so stuck today, I go, wow, congratulations. And they'll look at me and they'll go, okay, that seems a little weird. And I go, no, you're ready to level up.
Yeah. Yes.
So when we're
Yes.
feeling like we're stuck, often that's because we're ready to come out of that comfort zone and
Mm.
to create something new. And a lot of people now, you hear the catchphrases a lot all over, what's my purpose? And people are looking for that bigger meaning. The true meaning of purpose to me is we are here as creators.
Yes. Yes, we
And
are.
that is our purpose, to create. And whether that is to create happiness in somebody by giving them a hug, by helping a neighbor across the street, or shoveling in the wintertime, something like that, that is our purpose. And that is what moves us forward too.
Exactly. I think a meaningful purpose is is the skill that we're given. We find
Mhm.
that purpose. We find what it is we're good at. We find what it is we're passionate about. That's something that gets us up every day, that drives us forward to do, right? But if the heart isn't in it, you're not in your
Right.
purpose. The heart has to be engaged. The spirit has to be engaged. This has to be something that you will wholeheartedly do and you're driven to do. And all you've done is discovered the tools and how to do it. But I think our journey is always discovering, who am I? What am I here to do? And how do I do it? Well, if you navigate through feelings, it, there's a reason why we have the bad feelings. It's for empathy, it's for compassion, it's for us to understand lack or loss. It also helps us understand gain and abundance in a totally different mindset.
Yes, and if you look at it that way, we can remove the word bad and we can remove the word negative from emotions.
Yes.
They're just emotions, and emotions are signals to us. That's
Mhm.
what they're serving. And if I can recognize anger or frustration and go, oh, okay, that's what it is, there is no negative or bad to that. I need to experience that so that I can be on top of it and I can be in front of my pain story so that I can move forward and help others move forward, so that I'm not stuck in the quicksand of the
Yeah.
heaviness of these other adjectives. So we need them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I call that kind of, um, emotion happens to you for a certain reason. It's an indication of where you're
Yes,
at or what's happening. It's deal with the emotion, spend the emotion, but don't become emotional over the emotion.
very good. Yes. And it's, you can think of it as a thermometer.
Yeah.
I talk about, mindset and where are you at? Where's your thermometer for your emotions at? Do you
Yes.
need to adjust it?
And to think that oh, I found my path, one straight road. No, that's not how it works. We're not straight linear creatures. We're actually not. We are meant to twist and turn. You look at our DNA, you look at the flow of energy, you look at the wind, you look at water. Everything has a ripple or an intertwined rhythm to it. And so this straight line that we think that we need to go on as human beings, that rigidity has us missing out on so much that we're meant to gather along the way of our journey.
Yes, and funny enough, I talk about that in some of my speeches, that our journey is not linear. It is meant to be in a spiral, because when you also think about it in your context, that spiral is always taking you back to who you are,
Yeah.
taking you back to your heart. Your heart always knows, what is it that I really want? And when we feel again like we need to level up,
Hmm.
instead of saying that you're stuck, we'll just say we'll need to level up. Two really good questions to ask are, what is it that I need to do? And who do I know that can help me?
Yeah.
We
Oh,
need to
what,
change our language.
yeah, and it's what work do I need to do? What do I need to
Mm-hmm.
read? Whom do I need to listen to? How do I need to participate? Not just wait for someone to fix me or
Right.
tell me what to do, but how do I participate in my own healing and pay attention to those that I need to listen to, or I need to read, or I need to be proactive over? A lot of people are waiting things for happening to happen to them instead of being interactive with their own life.
Yes, and we don't need to fix ourselves. We're not broken. Machines get broken. Dishes get broken. We need to heal.
Yes, we feel broken because people have made us feel in pieces. We don't feel whole, so therefore we feel broken. But we're not broken. All we are is in discovery of what a whole
Yes.
is.
That's very true. Yes, I like what you've said. And if we continue to have the narrative of, well, I need to fix this in me, or words like that, then the mind is only going to create more things to fix, to
Yes.
get in there and dig around with. But if I say, I need healing, just feel how there's expansiveness within you when you
Yeah.
say, okay, how do I heal this? How do I move forward with this? There's such a gentler, more movement. It's
Mm.
an easier flow.
I think it first starts with recognizing, okay, I don't like where I'm at. All right. Is
Mm-hmm.
this a pause for me to rethink, to review and redirect? Is this a state of being I've got myself into and I don't like where I am and I don't know where I'm going? And that sometimes just that simple loving on yourself, literally a hug, being kind to yourself, not beating yourself up. Why don't I know well? What is this going on? Why didn't this work out? Don't need any of that. That's unproductive, right? It's like,
Yes.
okay, you're at a pause, you're at a standpoint. You don't know where to
Mm-hmm.
move forward right now. How about you acknowledge where you are? What
Yeah.
do you need in the moment?
Right. And look at what a great gift you gave yourself by getting you to that point.
Yeah.
Right? Our journeys are such beautiful creations of purpose,
Yes.
right? So even if we say, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and that wasn't good, and why did it take me so long to do this? It was all wonderful part of the unfolding. And everywhere you are is where you need to be. And
Yeah.
I understand, though, that that can be a challenging concept for people to grasp and hold on to when they're in the middle of something.
Yes, exactly. Especially if they're unsure-footed. I'm not sure, where am I putting the foot, in the right place? And it's like, again, trust your gut. Trust
Yes.
your heart and soul. Your heart and soul is your compass. Go in, feel it. Does it feel right? Don't argue. Don't think, because the
No.
brain will always talk you out or into something wrong, right? So trust the heart and go. Just be still for the moment. What feels right in this moment?
Yes, and that's part of the job of the mind, and it does it great,
Yes.
right? It's to keep you right where you are. But there's three really easy steps to a life plan. You choose what you want to feel, okay? You work out what gives you those feelings, and then you design your life around that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that just like a very simple way to look at a life plan? And it really does get the monkey mind to
Yeah.
quiet its chatter for a bit,
Yes. Either participate productively or don't participate at all.
right?
Yeah. It's in a lot of ways, how do I want to feel? And this is why I say when people come to manifestation, I want a car, I want this, I want that, and they think of objects. And I
Mhm.
think if you really want to manifest something, tell the universe of how you want to feel.
Yes.
Then get out of the way. The universe will give you what it is you need that's going to make
Yeah.
you feel that way. But how do you want to feel? Because that's the energy that the universe works on. It doesn't know
Yes.
vehicles or cars or this or that, right? It's your energy. How do you want to feel? And they
Yes.
can tell by the feeling, that this is important or this is higher energy, this is more needed. And the universe has a wonderful way of manifesting it. But half the time people are asking for the wrong thing and, expecting it to be an Amazon delivery.
Yes, or they're just asking it from the mind and then getting busy and going around and doing things. And then, well, why didn't it show up yet? Well, how will you know unless you have stopped, centered yourself, and
Yes.
felt about, okay, was this the right decision at the right time? How am I feeling in this moment? You don't even have to connect it to what it was that you were hoping to materialize in your life. Just, where's my feeling at?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is that the reason why it's not here yet?
Was it a, you know, an outside expectation feeling that you're putting out there? I want to be
Hmm.
successful. I want to be rich. I want to be popular. I want to feel popular and all of that. Well, that's just, you could be popular as a serial killer. You know, it's it is like, I want to feel abundant within my heart and soul. I want to feel really meaningful, purposeful in the work that I do. I want to enrich my life and the life of others. And that is a feeling that is more
Yes,
tangible. But I think it's where the mind comes into it is be careful how you are articulating your
yes,
desires.
yes. And, if we're going to ask ourselves, I want to be successful, then it would be, how will I know what that is?
Hmm.
What will I feel like when I'm successful?
Yeah.
And step into that.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of, what's happened a lot, and I'm going to touch on addictions in a moment because I have a whole addiction platform here too as well. Everybody becomes addicted to something. Anything
Yes,
that makes them escape the anguish, agony, suffering, pain of life, and it makes them feel good, even if it's for a moment. They go over to it because they just want that relief in the moment, and then that moment becomes more and more. I need the relief. I need the relief, and they forget to work then on the problem, and they never
right.
escape the problem because they're always in looking for that temporary relief. That I feel comes a great deal from this outside living life of you should be, you're only popular if you've got to excel at that to be anything important in life. And with all those outside expectations, so you gotta be, gotta be, gotta be. And nobody's saying, but I see you who you really are, the abundance of who you really are. Why we're chasing that illusion? We're not
Right.
connecting with ourselves. We're losing ourselves. Do you think that's where addiction mostly comes from? Is, never mind, obviously, pain and anguish of suffering of things that have been done to people and what they've gone through, but this expectation of that you've got to be so much more than what you really are.
Well, I feel it's kind of like a side effect of, and where I feel it's really stemming from the addiction is the thought that we're holding.
Mm,
We repeat it over and over and over, and that's the addiction. And then that creates the feeling, which creates the behavior, which
mm,
creates, well, now I have to go out and search for something to fill that void.
yeah.
Who are you without your thought?
Mm,
One of the greatest authors that I really love her work is Byron Katie. Who are you without that thought?
mm-hmm, mm. And who are we without that thought?
Right? And
You know?
can you let go of it? Is
Yes.
it okay? Why are you holding on to it? What is the purpose of it? What is it serving for you? So, the addiction part is the thought.
Mm,
And, we're holding on to that. And again, we're running away in a linear fashion,
yes.
right? We're
Yes.
trying to run away for something where if you just sat in your heart, you'd go, you know what? This is okay. The experience can't catch me if I stand still and deal with it.
That's the key. Dealing with it. Right?
Yes,
The old adage, a stitch in time,
right,
saves nine. And if you don't deal with it in the now, and I say get yourself into a space, a heart space, a loving heart space that I'm going to deal with this, and I know it's big. And
yes,
where is the love in myself? Where is the love for myself? Even if I have to fake it right now,
right,
to deal with this, where I don't feel so vulnerable. The courage
Yeah.
comes from the heart,
Yes.
right?
And the wisdom comes from the pain.
Yes, exactly. And the soul
Because,
wisdom, the soul journey. Yeah. And what is that pain trying to teach you?
yeah, why is it here? What's it telling you? Like, even if it's like, oh, I'm really cranky today. Okay, why did it show up? What does it want from you? And it's like a little puppy who's nipping at our heels. It wants our attention. It
Yes,
wants to be fed. It doesn't want to be the problem anymore. There's something missing, right? And
yes,
so think of it in that way. It's like stop and go, okay, what do I have to give to attention to this thought to make it calm down?
right.
Right? Do I need to look at myself and go, oh, you know what? You're a good person, no matter what happened. Circumstances happen for us,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
that's a challenge to switch that too. Instead of saying, well, it happened to me. Yeah, it happened for you too.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
I understand that. I've been through a lot of challenges in my own life where if you would be telling me this, in my past, I'd go, yeah, right, quiet, Sarah. It makes no sense at all. But but it really does. We
Yes.
really need to stop and listen to our intuitive guidance system.
It's there. It never lets us down. It's just we're not tuned into the right channel.
Yes.
Right? We've got this channel of pain and anguish. Okay, all right. Yeah, no, what was done to you is wrong. I
Yeah.
totally agree. But are you going to stay in that victimization? Are you going to stay in that suffering? Can you answer me this question? Does it benefit you?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, which it should be, if the answer is no, then, well, what are you going to do to empower yourself? Because you are so much more courageous. You're so much stronger. You have so many abilities. You've got your meaningful purpose knocking on your door saying, find me. But you've got to take the journey to do it. Don't sell yourself short.
Right. Yeah. Yes, listen to what your heart is feeding you in the way of a feeling and say, I want more of that. Now, what's the thought that will match that feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And do it from that perspective.
What happens when you've got people like we're seeing a yet another war where it is just annihilation? The hatred is so much that
Hmm.
it is gone beyond any reasoning. It's just pure hatred. When somebody is in such loathing, such hatred, very often it's not of the people they're targeting, it's of what lies within them.
Yes.
And they're unwilling to look at what's within them because they just think, let's obliterate everybody and I'll feel better. Right. And we know that that does not work. It will just create more pain and more suffering and more bitterness and more vengefulness and more this or that. All of the things that do not serve us. And
Yeah.
wars do, nobody wins, except for the few
No.
financial people that are making the weapons. And their souls and hearts don't win, folks, just the bank
Right?
accounts. But how do we get through to people that are living in such hatred that they have an armor of it, and it's so hard to kind of get through to them that really what they're doing is running from their own pain and annihilating everyone else and doing it.
Yes, and it's often not hatred that they're running from. It's a strong, intense fear of my unknown. I cannot see anything that is familiar to me. And so I have to then create the same thing that is out there that I don't want. Does that make
But
sense?
why do we do it? I mean, it's like the same way you've got
It's,
people have been abused. And you think
mhm.
that, okay, they know the abuse, they know the suffering of it. They'll never do it to their own children, but they do, right? Why? I know it's repetitive patterns. And if we don't take care of that patterning of that old programming, we're going to repeat it. But
it's
surely
a
some things are obvious.
it's a defense mechanism. And I can only do what I know. And
Mm.
all behavior serves a purpose. And maybe that purpose is to keep me safe. And so if I stay in the pain, I know that really well. I can be safe here. So I'm going to stay here and keep creating it. You're telling me to believe in happiness. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
Mhm.
That does not make me feel safe. So I'm going to dig my heels in and I'm going to stay here.
And unfortunately, say you can take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. But I feel if you leave it there long enough, it's going to realize it's thirsty.
Yeah.
But
And I
I
think
think it's
we
truer of a horse than maybe of us humans.
right? But I've seen so many people though that, when they're ready, it does, I need to drink. I need to
Mm,
drink of something different, of a new water. I need
yeah.
freshness, right? I need to breathe. I do need that something different.
Would you
And
call
it's
that the
about
breaking point?
allowing, yeah,
Mm.
it's I call it not really a breaking point, but a giving in. I
Surrender.
like, yeah, it's a giving in to the new person who's waiting to emerge.
Right.
Give in to that. Let yourself crack. All of those things are, the turmoil, that kind of outlook in your life. You're not falling apart, you're falling together. It's the
Yes.
debris of everything that's leaving. You didn't need it anyway.
Right.
And it's clearing that path for you.
It's like the chicken coming out of the egg, right? I don't need
Yeah,
the shell
yeah.
anymore.
That's right. Give in to that. Give in to the new thoughts, the new behaviors. Give in to feeling uncomfortable a bit because before you got to your comfort zone of whatever it is, you were uncomfortable. And then you lived that over and over, repetition through thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. Now you need to level up, go into a construction zone of your
Yes.
own healing, and then become comfortable in that.
This, I think, where it comes back to the
Mhm.
courage to place value upon yourself, the courage to not use whatever's been done to you as an excuse to hold yourself back. All right. The courage to say, I know I'm more. I know
Yes.
I can do better. I know I can have this abundant life. And that it may have been taken from me or suppressed from me, but I am that sprout that's going to come through the cracks and I'm going to grow. But it comes down to how much do you want it?
The three C's of living: compassion, commitment,
Mm.
right? And connection.
Yes, yes. And we're looking for that connection and that compassion um, all outside. And I think it's
Yes.
like, no, just please spend it on yourself.
Right?
In those healing weeks, months, or years, whatever it is, it's you that you need to heal. It's you that needs that love and that compassion.
Yeah.
Oh, why did I do that? I shouldn't have been angry then. It's like you were in response to what the situation was at the time from who you were at the time. Now
Yes.
you know better, forgive, release, and embrace compassionately yourself in the knowledge you know now.
Right? Because what we're seeing on the outside is so big because it's like, look at me.
Yeah,
Right? Just take that step. I mean, I kind of feel sometimes that's why possibly our bodies create an illness so that we finally look at ourselves and go, oh, I wasn't paying attention to me. I wasn't loving me well enough. So I gain extra weight. I have pain somewhere, right? It's the body is a miracle. If you want to see a miracle, look in the mirror. If you want to feel a miracle, put your hand on your heart and breathe.
yes. Yes, I mean, you just think about it. From a tiny little seed, we become this human being. And when we look at babies, I've got a 6-month-old grandson and a 2.5-year-old grandson. And you look at them and it's like from tiny little miracles from the moment they're born, and you're watching them grow and you're watching them in discovery. And there's something absolutely wonderful about being a grandmother because you're seeing things from a different perspective, right? You're not
Right,
in the day out. You can take that pause and time to watch them in a different way, and that wonderful self discovery of exploration of, oh, ah, ooh, I can do this, I can do that. Things we take for granted. And I think it's like it's a renewal of our own heart and spirit, of our own
Mm.
mind. It's a kind of a rebirth by looking at how they're in discovery and how could have we become complacent in our own lives, or are we still in a wondrous state of mind?
Yes, and be curious. Be
Mm.
curious about what's happening because a curious mind is an open mind.
And are forever learning and forever growing and forever excited, right?
Yes. I also like to say, don't box yourself into, a bad moment in your life with punctuation. How
Hmm.
many of us say it was the worst moment ever, period?
Yeah.
Put commas there,
Yes. Yes.
right? It was the worst moment, comma, however,
Yes.
right? And
I don't
even,
want to repeat this again.
yes, right?
Been there,
And
done that.
that opens up your heart too to like, oh, there's more expansion in my life. I okay, I can live with that instead, but we block ourselves, into these little mind traps.
I had a bad experience, so therefore I will never try it again.
Right.
Well, yes, putting your hand in the sawmill, we don't want you to do it again, thank you, but you had a bad experience with one person, but that doesn't mean every person's going to give you a bad experience. So you're denying yourself experiences because you had
Yeah.
one bad experience.
Yes. And who were you at that time? How did that person show up in your life? Were you aware of how you were feeling?
Yes. And people show up in our lives as a mirror image of ourselves, right? Because like energy attracts like energy. So if you've got a moaner groaner in your life, you're just like,
Right? Yeah, they show up to teach us who we need to be sometimes.
and an observation of ourselves sometimes, that reflection we do not see in our own mirror.
Yes, right? Well, how many people use a mirror to look at themselves in the eye and say, I love you. You look
Yes,
great today, kid, right?
yes,
But it's like,
yes.
oh, brush my hair, brush my teeth. Oh, okay, off you go. We're not acknowledging the beauty and the gift of who we are. We're feeling our life experiences, but we're not allowing ourselves to feel apart from that.
Yeah,
Like, how do I feel in my heart? Okay, so I have this stuff going around me. It's bad, I get that, but me in my center, I'm not feeling that.
yeah.
And that's what we kind of need to separate. And I feel that's why we're so addicted to the use of technology right now.
Again, I'm not anti-technology, but I'm not like, again, don't make it an addictive thing. Don't make it something that replaces. Use it as something that can enhance, that can
Yes,
give you something, that can broaden the mind and
yes,
the heart and the spirit, can broaden the your expression, or what you're wanting to say. My entire life changed through the technology of podcasting, right? So
right?
that thing, that it's how technology is not going anywhere, but how do we use that technology where it doesn't use us?
Yes. And that's what I've written about in the chapter of the book that you'll have out. It's how to thrive internally in an external world.
Yeah. Yes.
And, I really want youth and young adults to recognize that you are in control of you.
Hmm.
And when you sit down at the computer and you're playing a video game or whatever it is, so that you can escape from, whatever thoughts that you have going on, you need to recognize you are in control of that. Celebrate you. Take time, take 15 minutes. If it's a game where it's levels, like, what are you going to do when you achieve that level? And ground yourself and go, okay, here I am at the computer. I look out my window and there's trees. So isn't that great? There's a clock on the wall, right? Like, ground yourself and know that I am in control of that computer. And I feel like that's a new language that we need to teach in schools, to have youth realize and recognize that I don't need a computer to run.
Or
I
a
need the
phone.
computer to create.
Yes. 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 Yes, again, an extension of your creativity,
Yes,
something that enables your creativity, but your creativity must be the direction or the dictation, right?
right.
Not the other way around. But what we're seeing today is, of course, the phones, and my own chapter is on observation of youth, of where have we gone wrong, that they're now coming out and in fun stabbing people. Uh,
Mm,
and thinking that violence is okay. Where is their empathy? Where is their compassion? Were they not taught it? Have they become so numb from it? How do we re-engage them back
right.
into feeling life? And yes, there's so much of COVID we can blame, right? It is that we're letting them down. What we need to do is observe what's been missing from their lives that's led them
Mm,
down this way, because we do not need our youth out there feeling for fun. They can just kill people because they did it on a video game, or they just felt like it, or I didn't like that person, or like, I dare you. No,
yeah,
there's the value of life. And I feel that and in many ways, against social medias and things like this, absolutely anything technology, whether it's a car, whether it's a computer, whether it's a phone, it doesn't matter what it is, all has absolutely wonderful benefits in helping our lives.
hmm,
But like
yes,
with anything else, misused, it
right.
it can misplace our own right or wrong, or misplace a lot of things in our life. What we've seen now so much in society is headliners, the big sensation headline.
Right.
TikTok 30 seconds of this. And it's all this likes, likes, likes. And it's all
Yes.
shallow, shallow, shallow. And what we're not doing is saying to people, your depth, I am not interested in.
Right.
And really, what we are all screaming about, give me more of your depth. But we've become
Yeah.
such shallow people. And I think this is a real detriment to society. And we need to spend the time to get to know ourselves, to get to know each other, to look deeper than the sensational surface.
Yes. I really like how you've put that. It'll be an interesting chapter to read.
There is a reason why I did this book is because I do feel that we have let our children down. The reason we have so many dysfunctional adults today is because we have not brought them up in a way where they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel seen, or they feel that they're equipped. That
Right.
education's only for the elite. You can only get into college if you got this money or those grades, and also they like you. Even having good grades doesn't mean that you're going to get in. You're only going to get ahead if. And it's, well, I'm too mediocre. I'm too, mainstream. I'm never going to get anywhere because society has placed those standards. And this is where we're living so much on the outside life without living on the inside life. We've allowed the thoughts of other people's opinions, other people's perceptions, other people's dictation, society's dictation, and we molded ourselves after that. And we have ended up
Yes.
with an empty society that's lost because they haven't gone in. And then,
We have adopted so many belief systems that are not our own. And when life gets heavy, we have to unpack that
yeah,
baggage and go, okay, how much of this is mine? I need to clean out that suitcase, right?
yes.
I need to clean out my mind. This is not serving me. It's not even my thought. It's something that happened 20 years ago that somebody told me
Mm,
and I adopted it and believed it. Okay. Is it okay to let it go? Put it in the attic, right?
obliterate.
Right?
If it's not that serving, obliterate, and
Yeah, we don't need it anymore.
we don't need it. We do this with computers. When new program comes in, we have to get rid of an old one for the new one to come in.
Right?
And it doesn't mean that you have forgotten the old system, because the old system is the basis for the new one. But you take what's
Yes.
good from the old system, all right, and apply it to the new one. You don't take what's bad of the old system and keep on applying that. Our
No.
minds know better to do that. So why do we do it to ourselves?
And if we're going to talk about computers and viruses, let the virus in your mind
Oh,
be healthy.
yes,
Right? Let
yes.
it now let it go around there. Let it open up some of those emotions that need to be opened up so that they can get out.
Yes. And that's the hostage, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the hostage that are you holding yourself hostage to an old thought? Are you holding yourself hostage to hostage to an old pain? And it's like you've given your control away
Hmm.
to what? To something that happened to you. All right.
Right.
And it's like you're allowing that to drive your car, uh,
Yeah.
and you're trusting that it's going to get you from destination to destination without a crash. Well,
Right.
a crash is inevitable. Get hold of the wheel, right?
Or yeah, or we give ourselves away to a person who's wronged us.
Oh yeah,
And then we think about it forever and ever. And it's like, is that person here today? And the majority of the time they're not,
right.
right? It's like they're not probably thinking of you anymore. Why are you holding on to them?
Yes. And yes, you will have scars from certain relationships, all right?
Hmm.
But,
Yeah.
just as I interviewed last week a tattoo artist who was a burn victim who used tattoos to cover their burns to redefine the story, right?
Ah,
We can
yeah.
take those inner scars and redefine
Yes.
what they are. Yes, they left me feeling like that, but I picked
Hmm.
myself up. I redefined how I wanted to feel and I empowered myself. And every time you kind of a bad memory or trigger something comes up or something like is too much of the past there, doesn't mean you're going back in there. It's a reminder of
No.
how far you have come.
Yes. Yeah. And to go like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a gift that that memory is coming up. It's a
Yes.
gift and saying, do you want to open this door? Because you can leave it locked. Right? It's like
Lock,
it's your
bolt,
choice,
you name
right?
it. And it doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge it. You can,
No.
I have people talking about things that have happened to them that are horrific. The fact that they can speak about them today,
Yeah.
but not be emotionally detached. I mean,
Yes.
attached to them. So they
Yes.
can talk about it as I've healed. X, Y, and Z happened to me. Yes, it was horrible, but I am who I am today because I went through the process of my own healing. And I
Yes.
no longer suffer from that abuse because I'm no longer attached to the emotion around it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
Doesn't mean it hasn't left physical or emotional scars, but I am in charge now.
Yeah. And tell the story from in front of that moment.
Yes,
Look back, as they say, we have a large windshield for a reason so that we can see everything in front of us.
yes,
And we have a small little rear view mirror because we don't need to keep on seeing what's behind us.
right.
Take the lesson and let the rest go.
Exactly. And that I think, the heart, the spirit, and the soul already know this and they're already wanting to do this, right? It's the
Yes,
mind that gets in the way,
very
right?
true.
The mind kind of keeps sabotaging, the mind keeps kind of holding us hostage, and the heart saying, no, trust, trust, trust. You feel better this way. Why are you letting the
Yeah.
mind go back there? How do we talk to our mind in a way to say, look, I'm sorry, we've moved on. Can you move on too?
Well, you can treat it like a little kid.
Mm,
You can give it the name of somebody that you don't like, right? And it's like when anxiety shows up, give it a name and say, okay, you know what? You need a nap. Go over to the corner. I'll pick you up later. And there really is something about getting it out from the inside and putting it out and
yes.
taking that break and go, okay, well, all right, well, I don't need to listen to you right now. Think about it as something annoying. Give it a name and go, okay, go for your nap, go to the corner. It might sound silly, but these little techniques, if we practice them, they work. And they give us the pause in life.
Yes, the I'm in charge, right?
Yes.
When I my own children and when I was a nanny, when kids were, playing up, I would put them in the corner but facing us. So we're
Hmm.
continuing to have fun, and you're
Right.
sitting there not a participant of it. Would you
Yeah.
like to join us? Okay, then the attitude needs to change,
Right.
right? So if you're going to come back to joy, you've got to be the joy,
Yeah.
right? So I think that sometimes is the way we can treat, those elements of ourselves Like, yes, okay, you've brought this up again. All right, yes, I hear you. You were hurt by that. But if you
Yeah,
want to be a part of my life today, you've got to let that go and come and be part of the joy.
yeah. What can you tell that pain so that it will stop hurting you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything stems from that, doesn't it? The injured child within,
Yes,
what is it? It's everybody wants to be seen and to be heard and to know we count.
yes,
Fundamentally, and to be loved and the ability to love. But the most important is, can you see me? Can you hear me? Do I count? And I think
right?
most people feel broken because they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, and they don't feel they're counted. So it holds them back. Well, if you want to be seen and you want to be heard and you want to be counted, you have got to propel forward.
Yes. And, we also need to take responsibility, though, too, I believe, to allow people to talk about that emotion.
Yes.
It's not always about, well, somebody's telling me something that has some pain. It's not always about flipping it to the positive or to the opposite. It's like, okay, I'm going to sit beside you and I'll listen to that.
Spend the
And I
emotion.
see you through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you're ready, are you curious about some, strategies to get through it even more?
Hmm.
Right. And I think we need to take responsibility for that as well, because I've created a program for youth. And one of the captions I have on it is to be seen, heard, and understood.
Mm,
And we need to be able to, and people need to be able to speak their pain.
yeah.
It's just that we can't keep speaking it over and over, but they need the right and the grace to be able to say, I'm hurting today, right? And I need to be able to understood that, okay, yeah, this is a part of me and I need to acknowledge it so that I can stop running from it and I can step in it, right? And go, okay, yeah, this is pain. All right, I'm still here. The world is still around me. Maybe I don't want to feel it to this intensity right now.
Yeah. 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 How do you deal with people that have decided to use their pain? I call it the violin syndrome, feel
Hmm.
sorry for me. And the attention they get from other people is what they're now addicted to. So they're not
Yeah.
going to make the effort to move forward and have somebody just comfort them through a moment of pain. They want people to comfort them all the time because they like the comfort.
Well, that's okay. That's their story. I can choose to listen to that music, right? But I don't
Right.
have to play the song.
Yeah. Right. Because, I have a friend who I actually had dismissed this person because I clearly am not helping you.
Hmm.
And it looks clearly that you're unwilling to help yourself. So we're at an
Right.
impasse. We can't move forward. But my other friend now has become, and a whole family is being dragged into this woman being constantly, every single day, there's something else wrong, every single
Yeah.
day. And it's draining. It is absolutely draining. And she is, not only got one violin, she's got several going on. And my friend just feels guilty if she doesn't do something, right? And this is because this other woman is never, ever, ever going to do any healing for herself because
Yeah.
she's literally ostracized people from because of this and doesn't see it. So it quintessentially become an addiction for her.
Yes, and it really can. And I feel, and this is just me personally, it's not my responsibility to take that and
Yeah.
to do something with it. It's my responsibility to acknowledge, to tell her that, I hear you, I seen you. I feel really bad that all of these experiences have happened to you repeatedly. I need to stand over here.
Yes.
And if you need me to extend a hand to you at some point, I will do that.
Step forward.
Right.
Step forward.
And right now, I feel you need your
Space.
story as much as I need to be over here.
Yeah.
But I
Boundaries.
hear you and I will help you when you feel it's right to be helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I know it's my friend is way too nice for that. Unfortunately, so it is a fine line, isn't it? But because
It
then
sure
that
is.
person always makes you feel that you're not responsible for any decision they make. And,
Well, and does that originate in your mind,
uh-huh,
what you just said, or did it originate in your heart? Because
yeah,
if it originated in your heart, you wouldn't be feeling guilty or responsible.
yeah,
You'd
yeah,
know that you made the right heart centered choice.
yes. I'm probably a bit tougher because when she used to call me every week, and every week it would be starting off, oh, I'm going to jump off the bridge. And it'd be an hour and a half of just holding the phone while she's complaining. Nothing I said, nothing I did ever was heard, never applied, just that. And I was going through my own stuff at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
got saturated. And then one time she called again and I said, hang on, which bridge? And she goes, what? And I said, which bridge? What do you mean? Which bridge are you going to jump off? Well, I don't know. And I said, well, I need to know so that people can find the body. She goes,
Mm.
oh my. And I say, clearly nothing I say and nothing I do is helping you. If you are hell bent on jumping off that bridge, I can't help you. The only person that can is yourself.
Yeah. And those are tough conversations for us to hear ourselves saying,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. But I
Yeah.
mean, for my own sanctuary sanity at that time, I just couldn't take that anymore
Right.
because it was blood sucking of energy. Right.
Well, and
And no responsibility on the other side to do their own healing.
yes, and it wasn't your responsibility to take it,
Yeah.
because this is what we do, and this is what other people who are still learning their healthier journey do, is they want to give you these pieces. I want you to hold on to that.
Yeah.
If I hold on to it, you will never be whole and complete.
Right.
It will always be a missing piece. So I'm going to give that back to you.
Hmm.
You can do whatever you want with
Yeah.
it. I'll help you put that puzzle together when you're ready, but I'm not holding it for you.
Exactly. And I think this is something that's really important for people to know because I always say that if you are on your healing journey, it's going to take a lot of focus and a lot of energy for you to focus on you and what you need,
Yes,
for you to replenish yourself, for you to find your path. And I think it's really quite essential of the people that are around you or not around you at that time.
right, right. Because again, when we're so busy looking at others, it's something is stopping us from
Yes,
looking at ourselves,
yes. And you
right?
want people
And
around you that you may not get what you're doing, but they still love and care for you. The last thing you need is people who want to hold you back or pull
right,
you back or criticize because that is a reflection of they don't want you to grow because you're going to leave them behind.
yeah,
But you have to
yeah,
grow, so you have to be very choosy of who the people are around you. And for me, when I coach, I always say to people, make your world smaller during this time period. Just have the people around you that truly do care. Don't put yourself out, don't volunteer, don't go and do other things right now that require the bigness of you, right?
yes,
Wait
yeah.
until you're fuller.
Wait till you're fuller, and in the meantime, though, don't live small,
No, no. It's
right?
just don't overextend.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
This isn't the time to
Yeah.
go and say yes to this and that when that energy is going on yourself and all it's going to do is suck the energy out of you, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some greatness in small things. You don't
Right.
have to go and do the big things.
Yeah. And to recognize that with kindness, when we have people in our lives who are feeling like, oh, I'm being so drained. Okay, why am I allowing them to take this?
Exactly. Yeah.
Excuse me.
And very often we're unaware.
Yeah.
We're simply unaware. Why have I got that reaction? Why have I got this and that? And, and it's why? And, very often it's stop and think, well, what am I sending out that's attracting it?
Yes. Very good. Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought I cleared that. Why am I still getting it back? Well, there's something in another compartment somewhere that you haven't opened the door to. You
Right?
know?
Yeah, and it's knocking
It's
and we're
knocking.
not
You
listening.
just went la la la. So, life is always a reflection of how we feel and what we put out, right?
It
So,
really is true. Yeah, you can be really tired of those types of books and messages, but it really is true.
yeah, it is. I mean, I do a lot of these type of shows where we're reiterating the same thing from in
Right?
different perspective, different language, so to speak, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing. And the bottom line of it is, you can't escape from yourself. You can't outrun yourself. You can go to the far ends of the earth. Guess what? You're going to be with yourself. At some
Yes.
point, you have to stop and face, what is it that I don't like in my life or about my life or even about me? And what am I going to do about it?
It's like the old saying, wherever you go, there you are.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And so you may as well face yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
it gathers more moss the more you try and run from it, and it gets heavier and heavier. So you may as well
Yes.
just, deal with it before it gets weighs you down.
You are creating you, and you are creating the perfect experiences for you to learn how to get back to your core. And
Right.
your core is your heart. So
Yes.
how can we condemn ourselves?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
yeah, we are the universe.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so we can't run from that. You can't run from who you are. You can't hate for who you are.
And what you can hate your perception of yourself,
Yeah.
which a lot of people do. But how about you just change your point of view on you? How about change your
Hmm.
perception? Instead of
Right?
looking at yourself from this angle, how about just go around the other side and see yourself from a
Yeah.
different angle? You know?
Because if you're looking at yourself from the exterior, that lens is clouded by
Uh-huh.
everybody else's opinions that you have adopted.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And this is the thing is you want to get yourself to the stage in life where you're living your life and being who you are and doing what you're doing from a place of soul heart center, right?
Yeah.
That this is your truth. This is who you are unapologetically,
Yes.
right? People can
And
take you or leave you, and it won't matter. You are who you are. You found that self love, and you love what you're doing and who you are. And yes, it's a
yeah.
journey to get there, but my God, is it worth it when we do?
Right? Yeah. So that you can look back and go, oh, wow, I sure created some stupid things, you
Yes,
know, and chuckle about it and go, yeah, but I did that. And if I can create that kind of mess and have it work out, I can create something beautiful and have
yes,
it feel even better when it works out, right? So
yes.
I'm a master of my creation, no matter which way I look at it.
Whichever way you look at it. So why not feed?
Yeah,
That feed the brighter side, right? Feed the brighter side because, you know, um, for a long time I was in the dark as an escape, and I could see the light beckoning me, and I didn't want to come out. Life was
yeah,
too hard out there. And when I
yeah,
finally did, I was kind of blinded by the light, felt like I was being chased by the shadows of the dark. Well, now I'm such at peace with myself. I can go into the dark anytime, for I am the light.
yes. I've faced many things like that too, and I've come to understand that there was more darkness inside of me.
Yes, yes,
Right? There was more uncomfortableness in there than it was what I was looking out, because I have to remember when I'm looking out, I'm also looking out from the extension of how I'm feeling and
yeah.
living inside,
Perception.
right? So therefore, I'm still creating my world. Wherever you go,
Exactly.
there you are.
So, basically take a clear canvas, right?
Yes.
Paint the canvas as you want to see it, as you want to feel it, right?
Yeah.
And invite that darkness to come and join this picture.
Oh, yes. And no matter where you're at in your life or what you're experiencing, there's always somebody who has experienced it as well. You're
Yes,
never alone,
never.
and we have to reach out, and that's where we cannot keep ourselves small.
No,
Who do I know?
Yeah.
right? And be aware and be observant of, after I ask that question, who shows up in my mind,
Yes.
to make me also realize, okay, I'm not alone. Somebody smiled at me at the grocery store the other day. Maybe I'll hang out there, right?
And how about we smile? Because when
Yeah.
we smile, we engage smiles. And
Yes.
how then we take it next further. Hi, how's the day going? You know?
Well, I study spring forest qigong, and one of the acronyms within that is to smile, because it stands for start my internal love engine.
I love that. That's fantastic. Great. Yeah, and just how much does a smile beget a smile?
Yeah.
And one thing about Qigong, which if people don't know about, it's a kind of a form of Tai Chi, but everything is slow and deliberate movements. You are conscious of
Yes.
every movement. You're in a different flow. So it's purposeful. And I think that sometimes that's something that we need is to slow down and be purposeful in every moment. See every single little thing in front of us, feel every little thing, slow it right down because then we pay more attention to it.
Right. And once you notice that, it's kind of like when you're driving and they have those, speed things, what do they call them, on the
Speed
side of
bumps.
the road, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that, yeah, so that if you're falling asleep and you go over too far,
Oh,
it
right,
brings you back.
the curve.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
right. They have those little lines on the highways, and so your feelings are the same way,
Mhm.
right? Once we start observing and noticing everything, it's like, oh, speed bump, okay, don't like that. I gotta
Yeah.
come back to center, right?
Yes.
Just do that. You don't
Yeah.
have to say, oh, well, there's fear. I better jump in and figure out what that story was. Well, just know that it was there and move it out of the way gracefully.
Slow down enough to know, is this fear something I really need to pay attention to?
Yeah,
Is it something that really is dangerous for me? Or is it a fear coming inside for something that once happened to me or may happen to me? Or, the hysteria of the world has said it's going to happen to me, but really there is no danger.
right. Or is this a new fear because I've leveled up and I'm starting to create a new comfort zone?
I think it's also, what are we afraid of? Unknown. But isn't the exploration and the discovery, our own self-discovery, discovery of meaning of life, our meaning of life, our purpose of life, isn't that exciting? So perhaps if we change fear to excitement, we might see it
Well,
differently.
also, yes, and also every day is an unknown. We
Yes.
just believe it to be known because we live our life based on a linear time clock of habits. Well, at 7 o'clock, I'll do this, at 8 o'clock, I'll do this. And it makes us seem that every day is known. But within that, you do not know how the world is going to show up for you or how you're going to show up for the world.
Little did we know 4 years ago that the entire world would be all shut down at the same time.
Right.
Never happened in the history of time, probably will never happen again. But
Yeah.
little, if you had said to people, there's going to be something happening that's going to shut the whole world down at the same time. Yeah, right, never going to happen. None of the countries will agree,
Right.
right? And here we are, right?
Yes.
For good or for bad, COVID, it had its bad things, obviously, but it also had some good. It slowed us down. It made us
Yeah.
reevaluate life, made us relook at our own life, be more grateful for life. Am I following a mindless path? And I've got time to pause to really look at my life now and go, it's not really what I want
It really made us question our belief systems and what we believed was true, right? I mean,
on
like,
all levels.
yeah, I mean, like, for example, before COVID, the medical world, you must come to the doctor's office. I can't phone you. And look
Yes.
at how we built a whole life of believing that that was the only way to live. And then COVID happens, and it's like, okay, the doctor is phoning you to
Yeah.
do a phone consult, right? So
Now
it's like,
here we have a million people without doctors. That's the only way to talk to a doctor now is through Zoom. So
right?
the thing is, I think also the word flexibility.
Hmm.
Right? Just because you were comfortable with your life and now it feels uncomfortable because changes have happened. Resistance is futile. Go with the
Yeah.
flow. If you are strong and rooted in your life, then
Hmm.
your branches are going to go with the flow without breaking. But if you're too
Yeah,
rigid and unwilling to change or adopt or adapt to new systems, those branches will snap.
yeah. It really is that simple,
It is.
dare we say.
Everything is simple when we break it down. But I
Hmm.
believe our minds like to complex things.
Yes, because that keeps us safe,
Does it
right?
though?
And again,
We think
well,
it does.
the complexity of things, because then we'll get into analysis paralysis. So
Mhm.
if I can make it be really complex, I can give myself a reason or an excuse for not taking steps.
Yes,
Oh, I don't know where to go. It's too much to do. It's scary over there, blah, blah, blah. Well, then the mind is giving you a lot of, avenues to stay where you are.
excuses,
Yeah.
excuses. We're paralyzing ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Where it's
Yes.
like, just take a deep breath. If you travel within the center and the core of your being,
Yeah.
you will be safe on your travels.
Yeah.
But it requires you to go in there, to get centered with your core and your being, to be at peace with yourself, to be at purpose with yourself, to resonate in that ball of love, kindness, caring, compassion, communication, and to be that person. We don't want you to do, we want you to be.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Be and feel.
Yes, feel the beingness. Yes.
Yeah.
It all sounds like a lot of work. And initially, until you get into the flow of it, it is because you're changing patterns. You're
Yes,
changing perceptives. But if the more and more you do something and the more and more comfortable you are with it, the more and more it just becomes part of your nature, right? So,
well, anger became part of your nature in the
yeah,
beginning, right? You
yeah,
weren't born an angry little baby.
yes,
Give me that bottle or else,
yeah, yeah,
right? But we practiced it and we
yes,
saw it modeled and we accepted it,
yeah,
right? And so that became easy. And so can switching back to living a more bump free life. You just have to start practicing it again.
right. And the thing is, there's somebody on there this week that talked about, was somebody I'm going to be interviewing called about the 10%. There's the 10% of stuff that's happened to you in life that will always travel with you.
Hmm.
But again, it doesn't have to have the power over you.
Right.
It is the experience of what's made you. It is maybe the scars, or maybe just the obviously the redefining of, or the defining of who you are, right? But
Yeah.
that 10% is something there to always either remind you, guide you, or perspective of where you've been and how far you can go. Is what are we feeding the other 90%?
Right.
And I think that's the thing that we need to look at. Shoot happens in life, right? We're going to
Hmm.
land on our backside. We're going to
Yeah.
maybe even get kicked. But how do we
Yeah.
get back up? How do we
That's
get back
right.
up? How do we stand on our own feet? How do we take ownership of our own lives and
Yeah.
go with the flow of who we really are and
Yeah.
be that person unapologetically coming from love? Because when you
Yeah.
come from heart and love, then you're going to find that meaningful purpose.
You really will. And sure, we're not discounting struggles. We're
Nope,
not
nope.
saying that, there's never going to be a struggle again in your life. It's just you can switch the perception, you can change the lens. Probably giving myself away for age, but to me, it's like looking through a kaleidoscope. And you turn it, and there's all
Yes,
those little segmented pieces. And
yes,
if I keep turning it, there's a beautiful picture there,
yes, exactly. All
right?
those wonderful little segments create, I call it flawsome,
Mm,
flawsomeness, like we all have flaws about us, but a diamond with a flaw is worth more than if it's
yes,
polished. So those flaws have become our quirks, become part of our personality, become part of our beautiful picture. Why don't we
right.
be awesome in our flaws? So let's be
Yeah.
flawsome.
And the diamond shines when the debris is brushed away. So,
Exactly.
let it
Exactly.
go, right? Let those
Yes.
experiences go, those old beliefs and those old thoughts.
Yep. And as I said, now and again they will come up and you have a look at them and go, okay, why are you here? I didn't make an appointment with you. Why are you here?
Yeah,
All right. Is there something I need to be paying attention to? Have you just popped in uninvited?
right.
Don't,
I
have a look at why it's there and then go, thank you very much for the reminder. Goodbye.
yeah, right. The four G's of giving. Give away thoughts, behaviors, attitudes that no longer believe that or serve you. Give in to the new person who's ready to, show up, right? Give thanks and have gratitude.
Gratitude is huge. I think
Yeah.
when we step into gratitude, we just look at everything from different lenses,
Oh, yeah. I
right?
mean, it's been a very long and deep journey for me, and I'm so grateful for it
Yes,
because I can look at people who have done some pretty big wrongs, and I can look at them and go, what a beautiful gift I had from that. And that takes a lot of work, a lot of standing in front, right? And it can be done.
exactly. And that's the beautiful of it. And just reading a bit of, your story, that one thing definitely we've got a few things in common, but one of them was loneliness. And
Hmm.
it's I've just written my memoir. My brother was editing it for me and he goes, gosh, you talk about loneliness a lot. And I said, because
Yeah,
it's the thread that's gone through my life. I was a
yeah,
sickly person in a white room, lonely, right? I was lonely at school because I was different. I was lonely in my marriage, and just that loneliness because of not being seen for who I am, right?
yeah,
And that is something like no matter, do I have to bend and become something different for you to see me? Well, tried that, didn't work. But
right?
I lost myself. And then when you finally
Yes,
come back to yourself and you go, okay, I will travel alone and gather who I gather along the way. But I'm with self, I'm with universe, I'm with love. I am no longer alone.
that's right. Well, I can be alone, but there's a difference between being alone and lonely. So now I can
Exactly.
travel alone and still
Yes.
feel connected.
Yes. Yes. I like being alone with self.
Oh, me too. In fact, I was probably, a small percentage of those people in COVID who's like, okay,
Yes.
done that, been there, you
Yes.
know,
I just became
I'm
busy.
okay with this.
Yes. And I think that's the thing, to be at peace with oneself,
Hmm.
to be comfortable with oneself. You know, we felt lonely because we didn't feel seen or heard. Did we see ourselves? Did we hear ourselves?
Yeah,
Were we so busy trying to fit in that we lost
yeah,
our own identity? And then when we come to who we are, why we are, then we're at peace with that. And that loneliness it doesn't mean that everybody else is still going to see you, but
no,
it means that I'm not going to switch lenses every moment for you to try and see me. I am what I am, as Popeye says, so you can take me or leave
that's
me.
right. And if I keep my lights on, the right people will see me.
Exactly. And the thing is that is be that light, that shines bright for others. And if they come to you, it's because they feel the vibration. But
Yeah.
all we can be is that vibration and not change our vibration to appease others. Have them
Oh,
rise up to you, right?
yes. Yeah, that's right. Have people meet you where you're at.
Yes, or at least within a proximity.
Yeah,
But I'm not bending into a pretzel anymore.
that's right. Yes.
And that was such a waste of time. And really, kind of, why do I do these shows? I do them, and why we doing this book is because we want to prevent people from going down this road earlier,
Yeah.
and find that love within themselves. Find, that compass, that heart and soul direction, and let their mind speak to them in a way that is going to propel them forward and not hold them back. And
Well,
we
and
we want
it's
people to
to,
feel that
yeah,
first when they get to our age.
right? Yeah. And it's to be able to hear the wisdom and the vibration of what you're reading and
Yeah.
to realize, you know what? These are real people. Oh, I can identify with that story. Well, if they did it, maybe I can do it,
And
right?
it doesn't matter what age we are. I've just had my
No,
69th birthday. It doesn't matter, is that it's about experience. And,
yeah,
whether my experience was slightly different due to technology or times, it was still an experience that somebody else younger is going to go through. All right. So that relatability, you went through it, you did what? You are where now?
yeah,
Maybe this is a path I need to follow.
that's right. And if people realized how the empathy where that came from in people and the depth where that came from in people, they would not need to be jealous. They would
Right.
feel empowered by them,
Exactly. Exactly.
right?
Yeah. It's like, come
Because
on in, the
people,
waters are great.
yeah, people who are speaking that wisdom have done the work to get out of the hole,
Yes. Yes. Right.
right?
Exactly.
And they know they've had to put those incremental steps, right, to get out of that hole.
Exactly. Be willing to do the work. Invest in yourself, be proactive in your own life, and work from the inside out.
Yes, give people hope. And, to me, that's an acronym, helping other people evolve.
Yes. And that's where the joy is, right? Helping other
Hmm.
people evolve.
It
Now,
sure
you've
is.
got quite a number of services. You've got the Black Sheep Academy, hypnotherapy. You've written children's books, published works, available for workshops and sessions, and voiceover and acting work. So, if somebody is interested in coming to you to take a course on something, what is it that you're offering, Hun?
I offer packages of what is called subconscious release technique. And that is just a very simple way to be able to see how the story that we're telling in the current moment is connected to something in the past. It's an old vibration.
Mm,
And you do it through kinesiology, deep breathing, and gratitude. You're
mm,
not going back, you're not staying stuck there forever. There isn't pain involved, and it transports people in so many different areas of their life.
yeah,
And it's so quick and amazing to do. And all of these modalities, I started assisting and offering it to others because they made such a huge difference in my life.
yeah,
And because it made such a profound difference and I could see the value of it, I want to be able to show others who have a curious, open mind what it can do for you too. Because we've had a beautiful conversation, and it's not like this has always been my life the way that I'm talking today, but it was 5 years ago. So as you'd mentioned earlier when you were introducing to me, I recently spoke at Cambridge University.
mm,
um, I was there, I'm 63 now. I was there when I was 18.
hmm,
And I never realized that I was setting my life up to be on this journey, to stand on that stage that many years later, to share people how to move from poverty consciousness to wealth
hmm,
consciousness. Right. And so it's like all of the gifts, and it kept leading me back to more modalities for training, for healing. When I really started 6 years ago, that's when I allowed myself to be free of everything.
hmm.
And I stopped defining myself by numbers.
Yes.
So, at 59, I started, acting. I have an agent. I've been in a music video. I've directed. I've been in commercials. I've written motivational books. I've written children's books because I got out of my own way.
Yeah.
And I want other people to see it doesn't matter the numerical age. Start from somewhere and
Yes.
start from who you are.
I started this journey at the age of 57. I'm doing it now 11 and a half years and found my path, completely found my
Right?
path. And there is, the oldest person I've interviewed was 92, who'd started her own TV station and a couple of years before taken a new lover. So, it's
Yeah.
life is what we make it, right?
Oh, I
It's how
know.
do we feel? What's our attitude? What's our gratitude over life,
Yeah.
and don't be scared to swift lanes and go in a different direction. I mean, had you told me I was going to be doing podcasting, and I actually saw a reader in 2010, and she said, "You're going to do something online internationally that's going to save lives." And I was involved with a quantum electric motor at the time, and I go, "What?" And then, 2 years later, I was doing this, and I have literally had people say to me, this show pivoted my life or changed my life. And that is, you have no control of how people are going to receive things. But I think
Right.
that when you put things out with the love intent, love
Yes.
and caring, that's what people pick up. And people say to me, "Who do I interview?" And I say, "Those with heart, those with heart,
Right.
those that come from the
Yeah.
heart." Because if you come from the heart, then people are going to feel you.
Yes.
And if they feel you, they hear you.
That's right. And they're also healing themselves. They're
Yes,
hearing themselves,
yes,
right?
yes,
So if I can hear you, it means because I can hear myself. I can hear my language, right? I can hear my journey and I can hear the evolving of it and I can accept it with love and grace.
I can hear what it is I need to hear, or I can listen
Yes.
to what I need to hear. Yes, I always say, listen, learn, and apply.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So quickly tell us about your children's books and your other books and how people get hold of those.
Yes, they're all available on Amazon, or you could email me and I would send you an autographed copy if that was something that you felt tickled your fancy. Uh, I have written a book called D is for Dementia,
Hmm.
and I never set out to write a book about dementia. I couldn't sleep one night, and my dad did pass away with complications of dementia, but that was not, a motivating factor to write it. I couldn't sleep. I started doodling. I thought I'm just going to write, and there came the children's book. And I wanted it because children in that time they're scooted away and they just
Yes.
want an answer. And so I used a universal symbol of the traffic light to be able to explain how signals get mixed up.
Mm,
So, that was my gift for, what, children just need some kind of an answer because in
yes,
that kind of a diagnosis of disconnect, it's so important to keep family connected.
absolutely.
And then I've
Absolutely.
written two other children's books. One is the book, and the other is an activity book. And it's based on the story of I am, and whatever you tell yourself after that empowers you. So it's a little rhyme, and it's really about, well, the gift was right there within you. Who do you want to be? And with that children's book, I really wanted to have it represent different children that we don't often see in
Yeah.
books. So somebody who is different races,
Mm,
right? Somebody who has different body types. I wanted more children to be able to look at it, go, oh, look, that's me. I can say I am special or unique, right?
yes.
And then I'm part of a best-selling international motivational compilation book. That's a tongueful. It's called Business Life in the Universe. And these are stories from people who have lived the journey and want to give back. And the last book was volume 10. It's compiled by Corey Poirier, and it was co-authored with Marie Diamond from The Secret fame.
Wonderful.
So I have two different aspects of my journeys that I've talked about so that people can, reach in and read and go, okay, there is somebody else's life that, maybe was worse than mine and they did it, so maybe I can too.
Right, exactly. And of course, you're a part of our Forgotten Children book
Yes.
series, Championing Change, Raising Tomorrow's Children, the insights from the front lines, from contributing authors. And I'm very delighted to have you there because this is what it's about. It's about sharing the information. And, that information becomes something then that, inspiration begets invitation. And when people know, when people have learned something they didn't know before, when they're aware of it, it invites them to care. And
Yes.
what we've all done is we've, put out what the problem is, but we've put out our perspective of what the solution is. And what we're doing
Right?
is inviting conversation. inviting
Yeah.
people to kind of be a part of it. Well, this is our perspective. This is what we see from whatever avenue we come from.
Yeah.
What do you see? And I'm encouraging people. Will be a webinar coming out soon with all of the authors. We can get to meet them, and when the book is out, we encourage you to have a book party. Right, everybody read it, and then converse, talk about it. Maybe each week take a different chapter, and talk about what was your perspective? What would you do differently? What can you integrate in your whole society? Because this
Right.
is what we want. We don't want to be best-selling list. No, we want to have arms around the world. We want this to ripple out in conversation, because through conversation comes solutions.
Maybe what we're looking for with the gift of this book is to have it be the best feeling,
Yes, yes,
right? And
yes,
reach for those, yeah, and to have that dialogue and say, what was your takeaway? How can you
yeah.
apply it in your current life moving forward?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that's really very, very important, because with us is that, we understand there is no escaping the problem, right? The
No.
problem is there in life, it's there, but there is always a solution. And are we willing to see it? Or are we
Yes.
willing to investigate where it is? Are we willing to converse about it? Just
Right.
as we've conversed today, this is what I'm inviting people to do, because the only way we see change is if we become the change. And we have to be
Yes.
aware of what the change is that's needed. So,
Very true. Yeah.
so my darling, how do people get hold of you? What is your site? What is the best way of getting hold of you? And if they want to sign up for any course, have you as a speaker or anything else, what's the best
Yes,
way?
my website is Echo of Yes. Very simple, ECHOOFYES. And then you put in the HTTP. I love to speak. I travel around the world internationally and within, Alberta and Canada. I'm there to do, one-on-one workshops or speaking from the stage. So,
Wonderful.
from my home to yours, let love be your anchor.
Yes, please, please, please. So it's echoes, FYES.com. Her books are there, but you'll also see them on the show page, public speaking, everything else. And folks, it's we do these shows to share again our opinion, and to share what we've learned in life and how to pass it on. Again, we've invited you to listen, to learn from it, but also apply. It's one
Yes.
thing, just apply something that you've learned here today that was an aha moment. Don't just go aha and then move on. Go aha, what do I do with it? Because that's
Yes.
what it was here to do. And, if we all just step up to listening more, participating more in our own lives, paying attention to those signs that come along the way, they could be in the form of a podcast, folks. You never know. And it's all about, what direction can I go in that better serves me so I am better able to serve others?
Yes. Make choices for who I wish to be.
Exactly. Thank you so much again for here today. You'll be coming back with a short show on your chapter. There's a lot more to come, webinar with the authors, and come January, but there'll be paid question answer period. We'll be going to be putting on a whole event there, and there's a lot more to come. And of course, the chapters themselves. You've heard Laurie here today, and I know you're dying to read her chapter. And of course, you can go to the orchardofwisdom.org/forward our Forgotten Children book. That is where you can support the book. We are funding this ourselves, but all of the money raised from the book then gets distributed amongst the authors for organizations they're supporting, to keep that support going. What is the organization that you're going to be supporting, Laurie?
Yes, I've chosen an organization through UNICEF, and it is to work in particular countries to help eliminate child trafficking.
Oh, yes. Done too many shows on that. It's horrendous
Yes,
what's going on.
yes.
Horrendous.
And
Yeah. Not talked
so
about
we
enough.
we really do need to, be in the countries in the world and the mindsets where there's poverty and loneliness and confusion, and help people be seen, heard, and understood,
And
right?
we also need to actually understand that sexual prowism especially of innocence, is a disease. And it's a disease that needs to be dealt with and not just brushed onto the carpet. So, yeah,
Yes.
it's another one on the list for down the road, another book.
Right? Yeah, I know.
So many books to come, but it's all about addressing what we can do better because we always can. We always can. Don't rest on your laurels. Enjoy your moment and your accomplishment where you're at, but there's always somewhere else to go because that's called
Yes.
advancement. That's called exploration. That is called self-discovery of who am I going to be tomorrow. So thank you
And
so
it's
much,
called
Laurie.
purpose.
It's sole purpose. It's to grow. It's to grow. It's not to stagnate and ferment. No, it is to grow, folks. And the more we learn, we're never too old to learn and never too old to be a part of something. It's in fact, with age, it's a gift because we have a better understanding of who we are and why we are and what we're doing, and we give our all when we do it. So, right? So never give up, never give in, folks. Just keep on moving forward. So, and thanks so much, Laurie. Please, folks, look at her site, check out her books, and of course, much more to come from her down the road. So, until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.